2020. Draw 2020. One thing I can promise you this. I will always tell you the truth.
The Washington Post and other fact checkers have found that Donald Trump tells more lies and falsehoods than any president in either party in history. The count is over 20,000.
But we've done a good job in many ways. You know, all of the promises that I made, I'm the only politician in history that I've actually kept more promises than I made. Think of that. I promise you will never hear Supreme Leader from me. He will never be called. He will never be called this. Never. Iran's Supreme Leader. The country's Supreme Leader. The Supreme Leader of Iran and the office of the Supreme Leader of Iran. I pledge that I'm going to put on good, conservative, brilliant judges. I promise you, I will never enter a bicycle race when I'm in the midst of an important nuclear negotiation, I promise. I promise you, I will not be taking very long vacations if I take them at all.
President Trump has spent nearly a third of his days in office visiting one of his own vacation properties.
But I'm not going to be playing much golf, believe me. If I win this, I'm not going to be playing much golf. I'm not going to be playing, believe me. We're going to save the coal industry. We're going to save that coal industry. Believe me, we're going to save it. I promise that under a Trump administration, the law will be applied fairly, equally, and without prejudice.
He tear-gassed peaceful protesters. He pardoned all his criminal buddies.
So I should not say, Ivanka, you're fired, right? I promise.
Ivanka Trump's new job, an official government employee in her father's White House.
I don't know Putin, folks, I promise. I don't know Putin. I promise you I don't have any deals with Russia.
We know that now that then candidate Donald Trump was still trying to do business with Russia in the summer of 2016.
Very legal and very cool. That's how President Trump is describing his business dealings with Russia.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I tell you that. We're going to get rid of the regulations. Oh, we'll build the wall. Don't worry. We will build. I promise. We're building the wall. We are doing great on that wall. It's almost complete. And Mexico will pay for the wall. I promise. And I will repeal the Johnson Amendment if I am elected your president. I promise. We have $20 trillion in debt, but we'll get the Gulf states. They have a lot of money. They got a tremendous money. They'll pay for it, I promise.
It took 244 years to go from no national debt to 21 trillion. That number's going up $3 or $4 trillion a year.
And at the end of 4 years, I guarantee you that I will get over 95% of the African American vote. I promise you. Look at my African American over here. Promises, promises, all talk, no action. All talk, no action politicians. With Trump, that's not going to happen. Believe me. Promises made, promises kept. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country.
And President Trump is 100% within his rights.
We cannot allow this to happen before our very eyes.
Fight to the very end, and that's why Donald Trump's going to get reelected.
The president is angry, and I'm angry, and the voters ought to be angry.
Millions and millions of people voted for us tonight, and a very sad group of people is trying to disenfranchise that group of people. If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
And we want every illegal vote to be discarded.
Does anyone believe that this is possible? No! Because it's not. It's a statistical impossibility.
You know, I don't know if these reports are true or accurate.
Do you know that fraudulent votes were actually cast, or are you simply saying we don't know because we couldn't see it?
Look, what we are asking for here is patience.
The end of the day after we file.
Any evidence, sir?
So all you have to do is ask your questions of Clark County, and we will make sure that we continue the pressure.
So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Networks don't get to decide elections. Courts do.
We're waiting for the United States Supreme Court, of which the president has nominated 3 justices to step in and do something. And hopefully Amy Coney Barrett will come through and pick it up.
The RNC has deployed legal teams in 4 states, including Georgia.
We are going to file suit in Pennsylvania.
The American people want to have confidence in the results that are coming out of Nevada.
In a similar situation, what am I missing, John? Where are you? In Michigan. I don't think there was fraud in Republican counties. Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
In fact, he may not have been defeated at all.
We're going to allow the president the right that he has to follow through with the courts.
Senator, have you congratulated Vice President Biden yet? Why not?
Have you thought at all about
And he's going to win America.
We will not wait to 4 years from now to change this. We are going to fight this now, and we're going to change it.
I believe President Trump still has a path to victory.
If Republicans don't challenge and change the U.S. election system, there'll never be another Republican president elected again. President Trump should not concede.
Let's not have any lectures, no lectures about how the president should immediately, cheerfully accept preliminary election results.
Fight each and every one of these battles to the death.
Should they then invalidate this?
I think everything should be on the table.
he has tried to certainly politicize the department, and that's what he's doing now. He's putting in ES people who will not, he believes, will follow any order he gives, including something that is even illegal.
Because we're going to go in the night of, as soon as that election's over, we're going in with our lawyers.
Sir, what do you say to the Americans that are anxious over the fact that President Trump has yet to concede and what that might mean for the country?
Well, I just think it's an embarrassment, quite frankly. The only thing that, how can I say this tactfully? I think it will not help the president's legacy.
Because we did something that nobody thought was even possible, and we ended up with 306 to 223. That's a pretty big victory. We had a landslide, 306 to 223. Remember, 306 to 223, that's a slaughter. That's a slaughter. 306 to 223, that's a pretty good shellacking.
I get it.
306 to 223.
I'm
That's
not
a
disputing
lot.
you beat Hillary Clinton.
That's a lot.
Listen.
But we had a tremendous landslide electoral college victory, like people haven't seen in a long time, and it's a great honor. They lost it very badly and very easily. I mean, you look at the votes, it was 306 to what, 223 or something. They lost it by a lot. I got to 306. 306 to 223. I won it easily. 306 to 223. I won it pretty easily. I got 306 electoral votes against 223. That's a tremendous victory.
I won 306 to 223, which was a lot, in the Electoral College.
306 to, I guess, 223, which was a tremendous margin of difference. Not only did we win the election, we had an Electoral College landslide, okay? It was a landslide. Well, we won 306 to 223. Would you say that's good? I'd say that. I was voted 306 to 223 or something like that. By a lot. It was really a landslide from the Electoral College standpoint. A lot of people said that's the reason I won so easily in the Electoral College last time. 306 to 223. We got 306. Yeah. We won the Electoral College by a lot. 306 to 223, I believe. 306 to 223. That's a pretty big. Remember? Don't forget. 306 to 223. That's a big difference. And I remember after I won, and I won decisively. Look, 306 to 223. That's a lot. 306 delegates. 306. That's decisive. And we won big. 306 223. Remember? And we won pretty easily, too. 306 to 223. That's pretty easy. We won easily. We won that easily. 306 to, I think it was 223. We won it easily. That was a great victory.
I ended up with 306. That was good numbers. 223 to 306. And that was a big number. And I think that we will top it. I'll leave it at that.
This was an excuse for the Democrats who lost an election, who actually got their ass kicked. 306.
Y'all to have a doctor tell me we don't come in those COVID rooms. I'm like, what?
What I experienced this past month there was horrific. I don't know. So of course, I was in El Paso, Texas. For some reason, the doctors there did not aggressively treat those COVID patients. as they should have, as I have experienced before. So I saw a lot of people die that I feel like shouldn't have died. Y'all, that assignment there broke me. I was put in what's called a pit. And in this pit was 8 patients, all COVID positive. My first day of orientation, I was told that whatever patients go into the pit, they only come out in a body bag. And because they were COVID positive, this hospital's policy was they only get 3 rounds of CPR, which is only 6 minutes. There's, out of all the codes that we had there, there's not a single patient that made it. Y'all, the morgue was so full of bodies that they had ran out of room. So once the doors open to the pit, they come wheeling in a body already in a bag, lined them up with the rest of our alive patients because they had to store the body in there because the morgue was out of room. They've had to bring in freezer trucks because there's so many bodies. I remember calling a doctor one night, and mind you, we as nurses sit in this pit for 12 hours. The only time that we in full gear, the only time we leave that room is if we go to the bathroom or we go on our 30-minute lunch break. I remember this man bleeding profusely, and I remember calling the doctors that was there. Y'all, to have a doctor tell me we don't come in those COVID rooms, I'm like, what? Y'all, the doctors don't even step foot in those COVID rooms to see those patients. I was there almost a month. I never once saw a doctor come in that room because they were COVID positive. Y'all, I feel like the treatment that those patients there are getting, when I say it did something to me, I literally, the first hour of my drive home, just cried. We as nurses, it's okay for us to be exposed. But you as doctors, you do not even come in there. You can't get exposed, but we can. And y'all making all the money. Okay. Why is Texas not being broadcast like that? Texas has surpassed New York. We had 4 freezer trucks. 4 that had to show up because it was so many people dying. If those doctors there would aggressively treat those patients from the beginning, a lot more would make it. Y'all, and the saddest part about it, my first night there, as I was getting orientated, the nurse that orientated me had one patient that was called the VIP patient. She was a doctor's wife. And when I say they pulled out all the stops for that woman, it wasn't nothing that they didn't do for that woman. And guess what? She was the one patient that made it out of that ICU alive and was able to downgrade to a long-term acute care. So you mean to tell me because she's a doctor's wife, her life meant more than any of those other patients?
Sector 45.
That's right. All legal votes matter.
That's right.
I love America, I love babies, and I love Trump, okay? Biden doesn't like that. He don't like that.
I love my
He loves
freedom.
China. He loves money, crooked deals.
America first, let's go! America always!
USA! 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 USA!
You lost. We won.
I'll tell you what we did. We did what the cops won't do and cleaned up the streets.
How much the fake news media tells you that Joe Biden is the new president-elect, that is not true. Fake news media does not decide who the president is.
Well, we came out in numbers. Power in numbers. Power in numbers. We are Just know that. And even if Trump don't win, we're coming back. We will come back even